Ladies and gentlemen, this video is going to piss a lot of people off. It may even make some people who have bought tickets for my upcoming tour around Australia, which is still on sale and happening in a few weeks, you should go check it out, wish that they never bought the tickets. Unfortunately for those people, I think that facts are far more important than feelings, and those tickets are non-refundable. We all know that women make about 77 cents for every dollar a man makes.
The average full-time working woman earns just 77 cents for every dollar a man earns. Equal pay for equal work. It's not that complicated. Women deserve equal pay for equal work.
A woman being discriminated against just because she's a woman and being paid less because of what she's got between her legs is an absolute disgusting piece of discrimination, something that needs to cease immediately, and we really should be doing everything in our power to stop it, if it's true. Now, I know a lot of you probably just freaked the fuck out when I said that. Perhaps you stopped blogging about your underarm hair growth or dyeing your hair blue. Maybe you just started writing a novel in the comments section about how misogynist this white boy is. Perhaps you're desperately trying to find out who employs me and demand my sacking immediately for being such a horrible human being. This video is not an attack on women at all. I shouldn't have to lay this out at the start, but I will. I truly believe with every ounce and fibre of my being that everything that you achieve in life, from the day you're born to the day you die, should be based on merit and merit alone, and not what sexual organ you have between your fucking legs. Now that I've got that out of the way, can we continue with the video? Now, the gender pay gap itself does exist, but not for the reasons that you've been led to believe. There are many variables that we need to take into account here, and for anyone, including the media or celebrities or someone posting on Tumblr, to say that it's just because women are women is extremely disingenuous and perhaps can affect women quite negatively. The disparity between men and women's pay can be explained quite easily when you look at the different life decisions the different sexes make. Women are more likely to stay at home and look after the kids. Men are more likely to work in dangerous positions. Men are more likely to work away from home. Women are more likely to head into fields such as nursing or childcare, and men are more likely to head into fields such as a trade or mining or finance. Of course, these are generalizations, and I'm not talking about you. You may think I work harder than every man in my office, and you probably do. The vast majority of women out there probably work a shitload harder than me, but I'm talking about averages. We're talking about the median person here, not you. I wasn't going to make this video for several different reasons, but perhaps the most prominent reason was the way that I know that these type of videos or these type of views can be skewed. I'm a straight white male, which means I'm fair game, because a lot of people suggest that I don't know what I'm talking about. Although I find it quite funny that someone would suggest that I don't know what I'm talking about, or perhaps I can't educate myself on a subject because of my skin color, sexual preference, and gender. I think that's a little bit of the pot calling the kettle black. And I mean that, of course, without trying to offend black kettles. The reason I decided to make the video was a 60 Minutes piece that I saw only a few weeks ago, which took on this question of the wage gap and was just horrendous. I mean, all you have to do is look at the like-dislike ratio on YouTube. Is 61 thumbs up and 6,400 thumbs down.
In 2018, you wouldn't think it's too much to ask that women be paid the same amount as men for doing the same job.
Not at all. It's definitely not too much to ask for women to be paid the same amount as men for the same job. And the reason it's not too much to ask is because it's illegal. You can sue a company if you are employed and you are paid less than a man for the same job. It is illegal and has been for many years. So yes, Tara Brown from 60 Minutes Australia, we can expect that.
Barbara Johnson is a talented chef, and she knows it.
Just notice here that Barbara, the chef, she looks like a great chef. You can tell by the way she cooks that capsicum. The way that the music, the emotions that are evoked by the editors of 60 Minutes. They use a profoundly female, powerful music here. But later on in the piece, when someone disagrees with the idea that 60 Minutes are pushing here, you'll notice that the music becomes very different.
I have a friend who's a much older chef, and he says, Barb, listen, this is a fact. You're a woman. you are going to be paid less. Suck it up.
Well, Barb, let me just say that your mate there sounds like a bit of a fuckwit. Don't accept it. Don't accept that something is true unless you go and work it out for yourself. If someone comes up to you and says, this is an idea for any young woman watching or anyone watching. If someone comes up to you and says that you can only ever make $60,000 a year, that's all you'll ever make in your entire life regardless of what you do. Well, guess what? If you accept that as fact, then that's all you'll ever do.
If you look at the statistics,
The gender pay gap has hovered between 15 and 20% for the last 20 odd years. We need to address it, that is absolutely for sure.
In many of the firms, that doesn't go down very well.
but this academic says while there may be a pay gap, it has nothing to do with the battle of the sexes.
This academic with the drone evil music behind him
In many of the firms, that doesn't go down very well.
is Professor of Psychology and perhaps one of the most intellectual minds of our generation, Jordan B. Peterson. Now, obviously, you can tell by the way they've set this gentleman up, especially with the music behind him, to evoke a negative emotion. He's almost the villain in this story. You can tell that he is going to disagree with the point of view that 60 Minutes is trying to push here.
It's too simple, the idea. It's like men and women make different amounts of money. Well, sorry, the problem isn't a problem of sex discrimination.
I just don't understand, and this is what I hate about interviews, and you saw this with my interview last week. Obviously, he's going to go on to another point. He's just made a statement and hasn't backed it up. So he looks very much like an idiot there, a silly person, because he's making a point of view that has no backing whatsoever. He's just put it out there. I'm sure in real life, when they recorded it, he actually made some points, and perhaps they were right, perhaps they were wrong, depending on what you believe. But to cut him off there, that's not being honest.
My argument is always this is first and foremost an obvious human rights issue, but if that isn't enough for you, it also happens to pay off quite nicely.
Yeah, so it's not just a human right, it makes economic sense.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what else makes economic sense, is employing only women. And the reason I say that is because if women are paid 75 cents on the dollar, 77 cents on the dollar, 80 cents on the dollar to men for the same job, then wouldn't you as a company employ just women? Isn't the point of a business to make money? Or is the point of a business to push this male hierarchy?
Our full-time gender pay gap stands at 15.3% in favour of blokes. And full-time working women take home, on average, $26,000 less per year than men.
15% doesn't really mean anything, but you throw $26,000 a year out there, that's a massive number. That's outrageous. We must fight against this. Hopefully Tara Brown goes on to tell us why this occurs.
Part of the reason for that is that we see far more men in senior leadership roles.
Part of the reason. What are the other reasons? You can't do this half a story. There is zero doubt in my mind that misogyny exists, and it shouldn't. But to suggest that this gap exists purely because they're women, from what I'm looking at and from what I'm watching and reading, it seems to be becoming more and more untrue. Weigh it up yourself. Do the research.
Libby Lyons is the director of the Workplace Gender Equality Agency, a government group trying to reduce the pay gap.
Okay, so everything that she says has to be taken with a grain of salt. Not because she's a woman, no, but because she's the leader of a group which relies on the gender wage gap existing for them to exist. Everything that she says in this video has an agenda attached to it. That doesn't mean everything she says is wrong. It just means you have to look at it a few times.
Me being paid differently to a man for doing the same job, it's actually, we're not allowed to do that under the law.
But it happens all the time.
Sadly, it does. That's down to the fact of discrimination.
That's down to the fact discrimination. All right.
But according to controversial Canadian sociologist and psychologist Jordan Peterson, it's a fight not worth having.
In my estimation, not only is it not reasonable, it's absolutely deadly. I think there's nothing that we could possibly do that's more ill-advised.
Well, why is it deadly? I mean, deadly is a very strong word.
It's been tried. It was tried throughout the 20th century to enforce equity outcomes, all through the communist bloc. That was the fundamental idea, to enforce equity outcomes. It didn't work well. It worked very badly.
The way they leave that shot is a shot of him staring at the camera with his evil eyes staring down our hero, Tara Brown. Just another little editing trick which makes you think that he's a piece of shit. Nice one, 60 Minutes. Good journalism.
Last year, actress Michelle Williams was paid less than $1,000 to reshoot scenes for her movie All the Money in the World. Her male co-star, Mark Wahlberg, was paid $1.5 million.
It's Mark fucking Wahlberg. He's one of the biggest actors in Hollywood. Before this movie, which I saw this movie, wasn't a bad movie. But I'd never heard of Michelle Williams before. Is that because of misogyny and sexism in the movie industry? Maybe, I don't fucking know. All I do know is that Mark fucking Wahlberg is worth more to a movie than an actress that I haven't heard of or an actor that I haven't heard of because he puts bums on seats. He sells tickets. He's Mark fucking Wahlberg. 60 Minutes are now going to wrap up this entire video with a nice little infographic and some information for you at home to take away and talk about for the next few days when this discussion comes up. Let's see what they've come up with.
The gender pay gap is most obvious when comparing sectors of the workforce. Compare low-paying female-dominated industries like childcare and teaching
Female-dominated industries. So is there a gender pay gap in those industries?
with high-flying male-dominated corporate jobs like finance and IT, and the divide seems insurmountable.
Of course there's a fucking divide. Because people on Wall Street get paid more money than people who work at ABC Learning. Why? Because kids aren't worth as much as $1 billion company selling shares.
The problem is obviously there, and if you want to do something about it, well, do something about it.
Honestly, let's fuck this whole team mentality, this tribe mentality shit, this men versus women shit. Fuck it off. Who gives a shit? Either you got a cock or a cunt, alright? So fucking what? Playing the victim in whatever circumstance it is in life will never make you truly happy. Stop it. Accept the fact that when you are born, you either win or lose a genetic or financial lottery. Some of us win it, some of us lose it, and nothing should ever hold you back. And if anyone ever tells you that you should be held back because of your gender or how you look, fuck them. If you still believe that the gender wage gap exists and because you're a woman you'll never be able to achieve anything in life, then let me just leave you with this idea. The CEO of YouTube, the biggest video sharing platform in the world ever, is a woman, Susan Wojcicki. So if she can do it, and you're a young woman watching this, why the fuck can't you? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave it a like. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like me on Facebook, follow me at the Buttsmart on Instagram for daily content, and don't forget that I'm going on tour at the start of June. There are some shows that are already sold out, but there are some tickets left. Make sure you check that out. Anyway, be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. Just don't be a cunt, and I'll see you later.